Do the Dave Roberts Dodgers have momentum after beating up the Red Legs? I saw this several times, and it caught my attention. Well, the Dodgers have the momentum now. They've got their mojo back because they beat up the Cincinnati Reds. So I've got Fairy Dust, Bambi, and Dentist. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to put the biscuit in the basket is what we're going to do. So my first thought on this here, to answer the question, do the Dodgers have all the momentum? All the dopey sportscasters were saying. So I am shaking my head no. If you're watching on the YouTube feed, which, by the way, if you're not on YouTube, bad job by you. These monologues are archived for the legendary Audio Vault. You can watch them on YouTube at youtube.com/@BenMallerShow. So I'm shaking my head no. The Dodgers pushed around the runt of the playground. All right, little slow kid on the playground. They pushed them around. That is what they did. Okay, the Reds were chum in the water. And the Sharks, Tani's a shark. Mookie Betts has arrived now, so he's back being a shark. And Teo Hernandez, these guys feasted on the Cincinnati Reds. The starting pitching did their job. That's all good stuff. Fine. However, let me give you a refresher course, Maller 101. I'll give you a Mallerism. And the Mallerism is momentum does not exist. All right? It is narrative dressing is what it is. It's something that a bunch of sports writers, back when people used to read these things called newspapers, there were sports writers who were very powerful. Now they're not. But back in the day, they're very powerful. And it's fairy dust that the sports writers would sprinkle. They'd sprinkle it, right? Just like they'll sprinkle, it's like on top of a cupcake, on the team to make it sound like they've become something amazing, like they're an unstoppable force. So you just add that narrative. Oh, they've got all the momentum. You know, the only momentum I know is Uncle Mo, and he lives in New Jersey. That's it. Now, it's a myth. Every October, it's its own little universe. Every October here, you reset the bracket, you reset the pressure cooker, you reset everything. Everything. Now, the Dodgers, they're still who we thought they were. I have not changed my position on the 2025 Dodgers. They are still the same booby-trapped operation. You can puff your chest out about the lineup and Ohtani this, Ohtani that, be a total fanboy. But underneath the blue paint, right? Underneath the blue paint, the team is actually wired with explosives. They just are. All right? I'm telling you, the thing's booby-trapped. And if you check out the soft underbelly of the Dodgers, now they had 3 errors in this game. The game that they won on Wednesday night. So 3 errors there, bad fundamentals. But the biggest issue here is the Komodo dragon in the room. There's really no way around it. The bullpen. All right? The Dodgers have to score 8 to 10 runs a game in the playoffs to win. That is not a sustainable formula. Why is that? Well, here's my hypothesis on this. The bullpen is essentially a bottle of Rolaids just waiting to be cracked open. One by one. These guys had an ERA in a series that 2-game set, small sample size, but that's all we have to go with. You know the Dodgers bullpen ERA against the Reds in these 2 games? 8.82. Let me repeat that for those of you that had a couple too many beers in the back of the room. We're not paying attention. The Dodgers bullpen, 5 1/3 innings, gave up 5 runs, an ERA of 8.82. They also had 7 walks. 7 walks. He walked in 2 batters against the Reds. Listen, I like Ellie De La Cruz. He's good, and that's about it. But that's the Reds. Imagine what Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper, and the Philadelphia Phillies are going to do to that heartburn pen that the Dodgers are going to be rolling out there in Philadelphia. And all you need to do is keep it close. Like the game plan is rather simple. I don't need to have played Major League Baseball to know. You just keep it within 1 or 2 runs. You don't even concern. If you go to the 7th inning and you're down by 2 runs, you're not really all that worried, right? You just drag them into the late innings. If you're the Phillies, drag them into the late innings, and then boom goes the dynamite. Or in this case, kaboom goes the dynamite. You open up the trap door, and the Dodger bullpen leads the team as they fall into a pit of anacondas. Good luck on that. Everything is great right now because they won these 2 games. But I mean, people are getting hypnotized by Ohtani, hitting bombs and Mookie spraying lasers all over the ballpark and all that. I'm telling you, when push comes to shove, the Dodgers have not proven to me that they are over this issue, right? And it's the same old Dave Roberts Dodgers, and I know what's going to happen. I've seen this. How many years have we seen this now? The Dodgers bullpen's going to go out there, and they're going to puke all over themselves, and Dave Roberts is going to come to the dais and say, well, I really liked him in that spot. It's always a bozo brigade lurking in the bullpen. They're one walk away, one bloop single away, one error away from disaster. And so, no, I've not changed my position. To me, they're still the same accident-prone, ulcer-inducing Dodgers until proven otherwise. All right, now turning the page. We have every other series, the team that lost Game 1 won Game 2. So that sets us up for what should be a pretty good Thursday with 3 games, winner take all, and advance to the divisional round, including the Red Sox and the Yankees. And in that particular game, the Red Sox fell behind, came back and tied it. It was a nip-and-tuck game. Now, the story here is Red Sox outfielder Jarren Duran, who took responsibility, I don't know if you saw this or not, for the Game 2 loss to the Yankees in the wild card round. Now, set this up. The score was tied 2-2. It was the bottom of the 5th inning, so there's a lot of baseball to be played. But bottom of the 5th inning, the Yankees had Trent Grisham, that's an outfielder, at second base with 2 outs and Aaron Judge at the plate. So Aaron Judge hit not a home run. He hit a liner to left field. Now, Jarren Duran of the Sox came in on it, but in a very awkward manner, he stumbled and bumbled. The turf monster got him a little bit. The ball hit the heel of Duran's glove, and pop goes the ball. Pop right out, fell to the ground. Now Grisham, who actually hustled, something you don't see that often in baseball, he ran all the way, scored easily from second base. And that set up Jarren Duran postgame. We have the audio here. Here's Jarren Duran explaining who's responsible for that loss. Take a listen.
I mean, this one's going to sting a little bit. I mean, I know that game is 100% on me. If I make that play, Trevor hits the homer, we take the lead. But, I messed it up, gave them momentum. And, things just happen from there. But, that one's on me. I'm going to have to wear that one.
Do I have to explain to him there's no such thing as momentum? All right, so question. We're going to play the thumbs up, thumbs down game. Thumbs up or thumbs down on Jarren Duran saying the Red Sox loss is 100% on him. So I'm going to go thumb way up to the moon. This guy muffed it. He muffed it. That was a disaster class in left field defense. And it's Game 2. If the Red Sox come back and win Game 3, it'll be forgotten about. If they don't, it's one of those things that will linger. And it's one of the great things about this time of the year. October baseball, biggest stage, right? The ball hits the heel of your glove. That's Little League. That is Little League baseball. Right? The Dodgers also had a similar play like that in their game, but they came back and won, so we're not going to sit here and harp on their defensive blunders. But for the Red Sox, they lost the game. And you got to make that play, period. That's it. Right? That was a meatball of a fly ball for a Major League outfielder. That wasn't some wall scraper at Yankee Stadium that woke up the echoes of Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig and Joltin' Joe DiMaggio. It wasn't a laser rocket with topspin. That was a playable ball, right? A playable ball, right? And he came in like Bambi on ice, stumbled. The ball clanked right off the glove, and you can't do that in the obviously in the playoffs, and certainly not in pinstripe country. So the Keystone Cops routine, the Yankees did not win that inning, and the Red Sox obviously lost it, and most games are lost, not won. Most games are lost, not won. That's the great thing about this in all of sports in the playoffs and just in general, October and all that. Everything gets magnified under the microscope, as it should. You screw up one play, it tilts the whole night from this point and going forward. Now, again, the Red Sox have a chance to erase this. Now Boston is going to go into the wood chipper for a do-or-die Game 3 in the Bronx with some guy I've never heard of pitching for the Red Sox against some guy who's an FCC violation waiting to happen for the Yankees, his name, which sounds like it's got the S word in it. So good luck on that. Now, last word here. What else stands out about the wild card round of MLB? So you've got a couple things stood out to me. Now, I was half asleep, half awake. I was groggy because I do an overnight radio show, but the Tigers and the team named after a bridge that used to be called the Indians, but then the Wokesters forced them to change the name. So that game was the early game, and the Detroit offense, my recommendation, after watching that, and I was like, is this really happening? They need to find a dentist because they were toothless Tigers in that game. In fact, I have the math here. The nerds have looked this up. The Motor City Kitties had a franchise postseason record. 15 men left on base. 15! 1 for 15 with runners in scoring position. I didn't play Major League Baseball, but that blows. That blows. There she blows, the Tigers offense. And now, much like the Red Sox and the Yankees, that's do or die. Now the Tigers are in the on-deck circle getting knocked out by that ragtag Cleveland Guardians team that really has no business doing what they're doing. And yet it looked like they were going to have – it was 1-1, and it was like – and then they scored a bunch of runs late and opened it up. But Detroit, they become the first team to strand 15 runners in the playoffs since, I mean, this is going way back, the Los Angeles Angels. Like, did they even exist? I think they tore the franchise down. Didn't they disperse the franchise? The Los Angeles Angels were in a playoff game in 2009? My God. Yeah. Yeah. Now, as for the National League side of the bracket, talk about bad offense. I guess it's contagious. The Cubbies offense, they went limp. We have a pill that we sell overnight that can help you out on that against the Padres. The Cubs not only failed to sweep the Padres in that little two-game, best of three, win the two, you win. In addition to that, they were human fans. It was a nice day at Wrigley Field, but they lose 3-0. The Cubs had all of 4 hits, 1 walk, 1 hit by pitch, and 11 strikeouts, which I don't think is that good. So that means now the Chicago Cubs, through 2 games, they're 1-1. The Cubs are batting 175. That's the Cubs. 85% of the world's working. The other 15% come out here. It's a playground for the blanks. And that's the Cub players. Now it's not like the Padres are any better. The Padres are hitting a $177. So let's not get all horny for the Padres. And the big boppers, Mr. Tucker and Pete Crow Armstrong. Well, Armstrong sucked. Crow Armstrong sucked most of the second half of the year, but they're mostly spectators in this game. All right, it is the Ben Maller Show. I'm still getting messages from these Dodger lapdogs. These guys that cuddle up with Dodger players. Why are you should apologize. I've already addressed, Mookie Betts should apologize to me. Mookie Betts should give a refund for stealing money, embezzling money for the first 3 or 4 months of the baseball season. And nobody had the balls to call him out, right? And I'm the bad guy because I called out Mookie Betts for stealing money for 4 months, and all these other toadies, right? The fanboys in the media, they don't have the balls to do that. Anyway, it is the Ben Maller Show.